Things in crypto move at light speed, right? And right now, one ecosystem making a ton of noise is Cardano. So today, we're going to do a quick snapshot, a real look at the developments that show some serious momentum is building. All right, let's get into it.
So you see headlines like this, right? Cardano is taking center stage. Lots of hype, lots of excitement, but what does that really mean? What does it look like on the ground? Well, that's what we're here to do. We're going to peel back the layers and look at the actual proof of growth from the big public stuff all the way down to the nitty-gritty of how projects are being built.
First things first, let's talk about making a splash. You know, in crypto, a huge part of the game is showing up at the big industry events. And Cardano? Yeah, they're making sure everyone knows they're there.
And to get why this is such a big deal, you gotta understand the place itself. Token 2049, it's not just some random meetup. Think of it as like the Super Bowl of crypto conferences. It's where the biggest projects, the top investors, and all the major media show up. If you make a statement here, everybody listens.
And we're not talking about just showing up and handing out some flyers. No. This was a full-on presence. A dedicated booth for the whole Cardano ecosystem, plus separate booths for heavy hitters like Input Output and Midnight Network. Oh, and they also had 2 side events completely focused on Cardano. You see, this is a coordinated push to be front and center. It's how you really grab the spotlight.
Okay, so being in the spotlight is great, but that's just the surface, right? The real health of an ecosystem is in its engine room, the builders, the creators. So let's pop the hood and see what's going on behind the scenes. How are new projects getting the fuel they need, and how are the existing ones running?
Now, before we jump into the next bit, we need to talk about a key concept, the DAO, or Decentralized Autonomous Organization. It sounds complicated, but here's the simple version. Imagine a bank account for a project, but instead of a CEO or a board deciding how to spend the money, the community members themselves get to vote on everything. It's all about grassroots power.
And boom, we just saw this in action, for real. The Cardano Builder DAO just voted to fund a totally new project called Flux Point Studios. And this is huge, because it's not some venture capitalist from on high making the call. It's the actual community saying, hey, we believe in you, here are the resources. That is a powerful signal.
All right, so new builders are getting support, but what about the projects that are already up and running? Well, that brings us to this magic number, 10%. What is that? That's the growth in the treasury of an existing project, Bonsai Masters, just from the profits of their trading bot. And that is the dream, right? It's a sustainable loop. Successful projects make real money, which strengthens the whole system and helps fund the next generation of ideas.
Okay, so we've got visibility, we've got funding. What's next? Well, you've got to get your project out there to the wider world, right? How do you reach more users, more investors? It all comes down to building bridges to a bigger market.
And that's exactly what projects like Strike Finance are focused on. Their big goal right now is to get their token, STRI, listed on the big centralized exchanges. You know, the places where most people actually buy their crypto. It's a make-or-break step for any project trying to grow. And what's cool is they're building their strategy based on feedback from their own community.
And check out their game plan. It's pretty smart. Instead of just trying to get on one exchange, they're going for a 3-for-1 deal. They're proposing to list on MEXC, BitGet, and Gate all at the same time. The thinking is this big splash will create momentum and fast-track them to the ultimate goal, getting listed on those huge top-tier exchanges. It's definitely an ambitious play.
All right, now we get to what might be the most mind-bending part of this whole story. We're talking about bridging the gap between the digital world of Cardano and the physical world we live in. This is where things get, well, really interesting.
The buzzword you're going to hear is RWA, which stands for real-world assets. And the concept is actually pretty simple to grasp. Imagine taking something tangible, like actual gold, or a piece of real estate, or even art, and turning it into a digital token on the blockchain. It completely changes the game for how we own and trade valuable things.
And the ones leading the charge here on Cardano are Palm Economy and ZenGate. Their mission is crystal clear. Bring these real-world assets into Cardano's DeFi space and, basically take the whole thing to the next level. This isn't some little experiment. It's a massive push to define the future of finance on Cardano.
So what does this actually look like? This isn't just theory. They're starting with gold, one of the most classic assets in history. But that's just the beginning. The plan is to scale this up to include over 14 mines, covering more than 30 different minerals all across Latin America. We're talking about taking actual physical resources and putting them on the blockchain. I mean, the sheer scale of that, it's just wild.
So let's zoom out and look at the big picture for a second. We've seen Cardano making noise at big events. We've seen projects getting funded from the ground up. We've seen them pushing for bigger markets. And we've seen some seriously futuristic innovation. But, a healthy ecosystem isn't just about the good times. It's about how you deal with the bumps in the road.
And here's a great little story that shows just that. There was this project called Flow, and they kept having these annoying problems with their social media account. A super frustrating real-world headache. But did they just pack it in? Nope. They pivoted. They rebranded to Surf, got around the problem, and just kept on building. That right there, that adaptability, that's the sign of a strong, resilient ecosystem.
So when you step back and look at everything together, the picture becomes really clear. You've got momentum from every single angle. You've got the visibility at major conferences. You've got internal health with community funding and projects that are actually making money. You've got smart moves to get on bigger exchanges, and you have this wild innovation with real-world assets. It's not just one thing. It's growth across the entire board.
And all of this leaves us with a really interesting question, doesn't it? What's going to be the thing that truly defines Cardano's future? Will it be this groundbreaking push into real-world assets, or will it be the power of its community-driven engine that just keeps building? With so much happening at once, what we're seeing today feels less like a snapshot and more like a trailer for what's coming next. Thanks for diving in with me on this one.